Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome everyone. It is June 1st, I guess halfway through the year now, and welcome to Reckless Speculation. We got about an hour episode tonight. We are going to talk about the Celtics Heat, how that ended up, talk about the NBA Finals previews, talk about the NHL Finals previews. We're going to do a little NFL talk as always. We're going to talk about how we're going to segment this podcast a little during the summer. Look, we're not dummies. We know NFL leads the show and leads the audience. And so during the dog days of summer, we're going to touch on different things. And we'll let Tom expand on that a little later, but more so just on what we do to kind of more of a mental health kind of thing. Which is very exciting. Then obviously we're going to make you guys some free money at the end and then give our final thoughts. First I want to talk about our sponsors. We have C&W Construction. We have Davis, Kessler, and Davis, attorneys at law. They're sponsoring the show, and hopefully we'll grow that sponsorship even more. Before we get into it, I want to welcome first Brandon Chain. How are you, Brandon?
Doing well, buddy. How are you?
As you can see, I'm in the outside of my house. We have some air conditioning issues going on. So Tennessee in June, as you can imagine, is not cool, but it's cooler outside than it is inside. And so having makeshift studio tonight. You had some internet issues yourself today? That all get worked out?
Yeah, we got it worked out. A lot of construction going on in my neighborhood still across the street. They were digging a drainage trench and cut the line, so had to have United immediately out here because my wife and I both work from home a lot. She more than me, but definitely got to have internet. So worked out. We got it all fixed, so all is good.
Who works more between you and your wife?
Probably me.
I don't know about that. Tom Sloan, how's Michigan? How's the weather up there?
Michigan is hot. It's hot. It was about 90 today. Tomorrow's going to be even hotter. Like I was talking pre-show, we haven't had rain in about a week and a half, and there's no rain in the forecast, which is good for having a boat. We've been out on the lake a lot, which included today before the show. So I am not complaining. Next week, though, upper 70. So
nice. We
get bumped down to reality.
And so I was looking at my notes, and there's some guy like Raj Mehta is going to join us this week. Do y'all know who that is?
Wow. That's a welcome back Cotter reference. That's how fucking I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Oh, I am now.
You are.
That's strong, dude. Meanwhile, so the guy in Detroit has a boat. Meanwhile, the guys in Tennessee, my fridge is out. This guy's internet is out, and you can't go inside. So this makes a lot of sense. It really does. I
had to go this morning.
When you're gone for 2 weeks.
I had to go this morning, and for this morning 11 to about 1-ish for an airbag inspection, and this guy's sitting here in his t-shirt and shorts inspecting this airbag explosion, and I'm in here in jeans and a button up, and I'm like, hurry up, it's hot out here. I was like, let's get to moving. So you don't need 18 pictures of the dashboard. Let's go. But nonetheless, guys, I'm glad we're all back.
Are you an attorney, and don't you normally support 18 pictures of a dashboard when it comes to a warranty and situation? I mean, seems a bit ironic.
Well, I mean, you can take 18 pictures in 18 seconds. We have just hit the button.
No offense, bro, but if you're wearing jeans and a button down, I'm gonna make your ass sweat as well.
Yeah, I think that was their plan was. But anyways, glad we're all back, guys. First time in a long time we're all back together. And let's start off with the collapse that ended up not being a collapse, right? So the Heat up 3-0, went back 3-3, and then wow, on their home court, what a no-show. Raj, you hate the Celtics probably as much as I hate the Celtics.
That I do.
I had a little twist I am pulling for Grant Williams, but what'd you make of it? How much was this Tatum's injury versus just a no-show?
I mean, I like Grant Williams also because we know his mom works for NASA and he's a brilliant guy. But what kind of brilliant guy pisses off buckets in game 2 and makes him go superhuman? And really, that's part of the reason why Tatum's ankle injury, yeah, it sucked, but it's not why they lost the series. They lost the series because they went down 0-3 and literally had to play perfect for 4 straight games, which is nearly impossible. And they showed that. They did it for 3. They got lucky on a putback. But, in game 4, the team that just played harder and had less lapses on both ends won the game.
But didn't they go something for like 9 for 44 from 3 or something something ridiculous?
They did. And, the Heat shot, I believe, 44% from 3 for the series as opposed to Boston's 30%. But that's also Miami's zone, and they play more zone than anyone else in the NBA, regular season or playoff. It's a very different zone. It's an aggressive zone where a lot of their guards and other guys can push up top because they got Bam down low. And really, that's tailor-made for what the Celtics try to do because they don't have much of a presence down low as opposed to a certain team that they're about to face. But my point being is when you see those teams, we brought this up. A great question that you posed was whether or not the Heat were lurking all year, were they mediocre and got hot, or lurking in the sense that they belong in the conversation with the Bucks and the Celtics. And, I think it's really, when it comes down to playoff basketball in today's world, it's the latter.
I heard a stat today, and it's almost too astronomical to be true. Of the entire NBA finals that have been played, Pat Riley has been a part of 25% of them, whether it's player, coach, or GM.
Oh, wow.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. My mom's 83, by the way, and I was looking for something different for her birthday that happened on Memorial Day. And unfortunately, Pat Riley is not on Cameo because that would have been like the one guy that she would have still liked to see, aside from myself, of course. But
I have no idea what Cameo is, but Tom.
Yeah, my mom does know. What does that say about you? But,
yeah, Tom, what do you think about this Celtics Heat series and up 3-0 to down or to tied 3-3 and then winning on the road? What does it say about the Heat and Celtics?
Well, I think it says that their coach had them prepared, and as much so that they already had booked their tickets to Denver after Game 7. So they had a lot of confidence. They were able to shelf the previous 3 losses. And they were bad. Boston absolutely dominated them in games 4, 5, and 6. So all indications were they were going to collapse in Game 7. Statistics say 75% of home teams in Game 7 win. Not the case. Spoelstra, who's a mastermind, just had them prepared. And I guess there was a lot of questions about Joe Mazzulla. Was he making the right calls? I mean, he's the scapegoat. First-year coach. He wasn't expected to be there. So I can't fault him. I just think they were more prepared, and they went into that game not scared, and they just took it to Boston right out the chute. And Boston started off, I think, 0 for 11 or 1 for 11 from 3. And Miami was able to capitalize on those misses and got out to a really nice lead early, which took the crowd out of the game. So they just were the better team in Game 7.
Yeah. Brandon, going to you now. What do you think about this series? What happened? What went right? What went wrong? Did the better team win?
Athletically, no. I think the Celtics are more athletic than the Heat. I think coaching definitely came down to it, but the Celtics live and die by the 3, and that's been proven in this series. They were 9 for 42 in Game 7, which is pretty awful.
9 for 42.
That's terrible.
21%.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
And so, and the Celtics again, or the Heat, to their coaching side, I mean, they played that aggressive zone like Raj was talking about, and just kind of dominated the paint. Knew that they had to force them on the outside, and they weren't hot. So, I mean, it was almost a walk in the park for them. If they're not hitting threes, I mean, Heat dominate the paint, and again, I don't understand why Celtics don't play Williams more. Like, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league and on the Celtics, and somehow they want to put White in over him, but and they like the small ball. So, it was theirs to lose. It sucks that Tatum got hurt, shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's all the speculation you could talk that if he didn't, maybe it was a better game. But ultimately, they were climbing a tall mountain there with trying to compete with history.
So, Brandon, you bring up a great point about this 3-point basketball, right? So, the Warriors, no doubt about it, they changed the way basketball was played from NBA to middle school. All right, well, what if you have a bad shooting night? Like is there what's your option if you can't shoot? And does this reconstruct, or does this start to reconstruct the way you think about developing a role? Maybe it's not three, because layups, like we all watch college basketball. 3 points and layups in college, that can be done. NBA is not so easy because there's professional defenders. But is this just 3-pointer bust? Is the system working if you're not the Warriors?
Obviously not.
We have 2 teams.
I mean,
Miami
you've got to have
and Denver that aren't relying on it.
For sure. And we're going to see this matchup. They're both paint point players or teams, and you're going to see a lot of that. Like, I mean, Jimmy Buckets only shoots threes when he has to shoot threes. Like, he very rarely shoots threes. He's always in the paint. He's always, figuring something out. He gets to the spot. He's got a 12-footer on the side. But yeah, I mean, this live or die by the 3 is crazy to me. Like, and to not have a contingency plan, like when you're shooting, 20% and it's terrible. Like, all right, let's maybe not take so many threes. No one's hot right now. Let's, get the 2-pointer and try and stay in the game. But people don't do that anymore. And
a golf analogy would kind of be like, we're really good off the tee box, so why do we need to worry about chipping? Or you're
until you hit it in the woods and
and then
you got to punch out, then you have to chip
driver, you have nothing,
right? Exactly right.
Raj, you're a nerd. So what do you think about this statistical kind of phenomenon? Like the Warriors said they, said, hey, it's three points are better than two, so make threes, give up the twos. Is this just the Warriors phenomenon, or are we moving back to the 2-point shot, or is this just the Celtics had a bad night at home and we're gonna keep going with this thing?
I'm still stuck on you calling me a nerd, but
well, I'm the host. I can nerd out all day long.
Damn it. No, I mean, with Miami on defense, and they play a very aggressive zone as we discussed, and that's one big issue with the Nuggets is, you're a big fan of Tennessee basketball and you've seen a zone breaker. And I told you when I watched Tennessee, Julian Phillips at his best was a great zone breaker, a guy in the middle of the key, right around the free throw line, who can break down the defense, makes others converge upon him and create. And Jokic, like, let's be honest, is the best in history at that.
Yeah.
And in the history of basketball, which is insane. Like, none of it makes sense. You look at him, he looks like the fat kid that, robbed a bunch of donuts and tried to run away from the school bus, but was caught by an old lady with a walker. Like, none of this makes sense, but that's what he does. He's a brilliant player. And but back to your original question.
Good, and just the way he can move the ball. So, Tom, I want to move to you real quick.
But let me answer that real quick about the threes with Denver.
Sorry, you froze.
Oh, with Denver, they get wide open threes because of Jokic. Because him and Jamal Murray, everyone collapses, and you got guys in the corner, including a 6'10" Michael Porter Jr., who's usually covered by a guard who can shoot over them. Him and KCP, they're a different type of team, man. They're not the team that pulls up from 30 and hits threes. They're a team that shoots threes because that's the next best option.
Tom, I want to bring you in here on this one. And I don't want to talk necessarily the Celtics Heat and the breakdown. I want to talk about the Pistons and their big spending. What do you think about the coaching hire? $78 million over 6 years.
I love it. Because this is such an anti-T-shirt Tom Gores move. And he did the right thing. You needed the best coach available. They went out and got him. And this thing, from what I've been reading, could be 8 years over $100 million. I don't care. They need somebody that's going to be able to mentor this young talent. The oldest player on this roster is 25, and Marvin Bagley Jr.
Yeah.
The third, sorry. But he's also Bogdanovich is the highest paid at $20 million. So they have such young talent, and now they're going to have a coach that's going to be able to teach them how to work together. And seeing what he did in Phoenix, his second year, he won 34 games. His first year, they won 34 games. Second year, they went to the NBA Finals. This guy knows how to take a losing franchise and turn them around. And,
yes, he does. Yes.
And the fact of the matter is, Tom Gores has been an absolute disaster of an owner, and this is the best move he's made since he's become owner of the Pistons. And the irony of the whole thing is, fellow Detroiter Matt Ishbia fires him, and Tom Gores picks him up and puts him in Detroit. I love it. I think it's a great move. Immediately makes the Pistons relevant, and I just think good things are in the works for the Pistons.
So you're okay with the highest paid coach in NBA history?
It doesn't matter to me. Coaches don't matter to me when it comes to paying. Results matter, and I think this guy's going to be able to do it.
What's your anticipated turnaround? When are you in the playoffs? 2 years, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years.
If we can like I said, Phoenix, the year before he was there, they won 19 games. Detroit won 17. If we can do something similar to what Phoenix did in his first year, 35, 40 wins, that's double the wins. That's progress. And after that, they were an 8 seed a couple years ago, but they've got young talent, and I think they just need a piece or two veteran leadership that can kind of get them over. So I say 2 years they're in the playoffs. I'll give them that. I mean, it's a 6-year deal, so I think the thought process is they're going to give them some time, and this is the first step. This is ownership telling the fans, hey, we're going to get this thing right, and we owe it to you, and they did the right thing.
Sticking with you, Tom. What is your prediction of the finals? Let's preview this thing. We have the Nuggets, a number 1 seed. We have the Heat, a number 8 seed. This generally does not happen in sports, in pro sports. There are no Cinderellas. There are no upsets. It's generally the best team wins. That's why we have 7-game series. This isn't an NCAA tournament, which are one and done. Who stops Joker?
I don't think anyone can stop Joker. You got to have to contain everyone else around him. Denver's probably the most complete team in the NBA, and hence the reason why they're there. And what they did to the Lakers, which was shocking to everybody. I don't think anyone ever expected that to be a sweep, but you obviously Bam Adebayo is not going to stop him. I mean, he's averaging a triple-double in the playoffs. So I think the key for Miami is just to kind of contain the rest of the guys and keep production coming off the bench. You got to have Duncan Robinson's got to come off the bench and hit key threes. He missed a few in game 6 of the last series, but I think the key is, contain Jamal Murray, try and shut him down, or maybe not shut him down, but kind of keep him limited. Don't let him get off that 3, like you talked about earlier. The 3 is the key. So if you can slow him down and some of the other pieces, that's your best chance. But Jokic is the best player in the world. And what he's going to be able to do, he's going to be able to pull Adebayo out of the paint, which makes it easier for those other guys to drive the lane and get to the foul line. So it's going to be a tough hill to climb.
What he reminds me of is if Hakeem Olajuwon or Tim Duncan could shoot from 3-point line.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he is. Roz, you're a basketball historian. What do you do? Do you double him, or do you just let him get his own points? I feel like if you double him, it's like suicide or murder, in my opinion.
The only way to beat them is to make him a scorer. That's it. And the irony of that is overwhelming. And if you look at tonight, he's got 10 assists at the half, which actually, I believe he has more than that. And Jamal Murray's going off. I mean, they've got shooters, they've got rebounders. My theory on the Nuggets is that, they had injuries at the right time. And let me explain that. Kind of like the Spurs with when David Robinson got hurt, they got Tim Duncan, right? They got the first overall pick. They sucked it up. And Michael Porter Jr. fell into their lap. They signed Aaron Gordon, and that was great. And Aaron Gordon was drafted, I believe, number 4 overall in the same draft as the Joker, who was like number 41 overall or something. The point being is, after Jamal Murray's ACL, it was a matter of time before these pieces all fit. And these pieces all fit. If there's a knock on the Nuggets, it's the lack of bench, if you will, especially in the post. But you've got a guy that's averaging a near triple-double. I mean, he's had a triple-double in 5 out of his last 6 games, 8 out of the 15 games in the playoffs. He's just unprecedented. And you try to make him a scorer, which good luck, which they've tried to do. The Lakers tried to man up Davis on him, didn't work. They tried to put somebody else like Rui Hachimura on him, and then Davis would be the roamer, which is what Miami seemed to try to do. Like maybe put Kevin Love on him with Adebayo, very similar to Davis, an extreme shot blocking, decision making, elite defensive talent in the paint. Nothing works, man. And they've got too many guys that can knock down shots. I mean, Bruce Brown, as a Laker fan, pissed me off. He talks a lot of shit, doesn't realize his name is Bruce. But, these guys are free to operate. I love KCP, crazy man defender. There's just so many roles played by the same role players. It's a complete team, man. And it's going to be really tough for Miami to assert themselves. It really is.
Brandon, going to you now. Joker reminds me of the guy that, whether it's on a golf course or a tennis court, you're like, oh yeah, I'll partner with you or play against you, and he just whips your ass, and it's just like, what just happened to me? That's what it feels like watching him play.
Absolutely. I mean, he's 7 foot whatever, and do you even remember seeing him dunk or slam dunk in the last, 10, 20 games? I can't even remember watching him dunk at all, as big as he is. He just makes so many shots in the paint and facilitates the game so well. He can shoot outside ridiculously when he's called upon, makes passes. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's so hard to stop being that big, and you expect him to kind of body his way in, but he's more of a finesse guy, and he works his way around the big guys, and he'll step back and throw a hook or drop a fadeaway in on you every time, or a rebound. His rebounding is ridiculous. I mean, he's an all-around package. My opinion, should have been the MVP this year. I think they vote way too early for that, and then you see throughout the playoffs who really stands out. I think that's a big factor, but not taking anything away from Embiid, because he was phenomenal all year. So, I mean, it was 1A, 1B in my opinion. But
but when you compare him in the playoffs,
yeah, exactly.
It's hard to be like.
That's what I'm saying. And that playoff basketball matters. I mean, that's what everyone does, right? So, the time off or the lackadaisical effort or whatever throughout the season, because it's a long season, to call out an MVP that early, in my opinion, is, media statistic, whatever. It's definitely not the best player, in my opinion. I think you need to see that throughout at least the Western Eastern Conference Finals to get to that point, if they're in there. But
yeah,
you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him, like Raj said, and force it outside. But Denver is so complete this year. I don't see how this isn't a sweep. At most, I think it's 5 games. I mean,
don't spoil the bet your nuts.
It's not a bet your nuts. That's not my bet your nuts. My bet your nuts already was 2 weeks ago was Nuggets minus 200 to win it all. So I already put that out there. Now they're minus 480 or something. So hopefully you followed early. But it's the Heat has done incredible things this playoff season, but I don't see they have the matchup here, and that's what basketball is matchups. I just don't see that here.
All right, so we're going to move from basketball to hockey now, and then so we have another South Florida team in the finals against the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know how much Tom wants to nerd into this about the advantages that expansion teams have in NHL versus other sports, but if he does want to, we can. But Tom, you are the most knowledgeable about NHL hockey. Obviously, I think we've all been to playoff games. The Stanley Cup Final is one of the most epic sporting events that you can go to, and the intensity is magical. What do you think about the final? And also, and if you want to touch on the expansion kind of rules and how it helps them, if you want to.
Yeah, I'll start with that. Basically, what happens when a team gets introduced into the NHL, they have an expansion draft, and each team has to protect so many players.
Yeah.
And due to contract, situations or whatever the case may be, some players that are really good don't get protected, and they're free game for 2 years ago. It was Seattle. 5 years ago, it was the Vegas Golden Knights. So they start not basically with a fresh slate. They start with, legitimate seasoned NHL players. So it's not like it used to be back in the days when, basketball teams came in or other teams came in and basically started with, crumbs. No, they start, look at what Vegas did the very first year. They went to the Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Seattle gets to the Western Conference Finals in the second year. So there's a lot of turnaround there, but they're put in a really good position to win right out the gate. So that makes it really interesting. But as far as this series goes, like you mentioned, 2 South Florida teams, 2 8 seeds at that. Florida's been playing playoff hockey the last 2 years, 2 weeks of the regular season. So they came into this playoff season, and I think that definitely has helped them through this journey. Round 1, they played the greatest regular season team in NHL history, the Boston Bruins. Get out of here. Round 2, they play Toronto, who has arguably one of the best players on the planet in Austin Matthews. Game 7, overtime.
And everyone was rooting for Toronto. Everyone. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would have thought they won the cup after their first playoff round win in 19 years. But they went in there and they weren't scared. It was impressive. So, and then what they did to Carolina. So they've earned their place in this series. And then, you flip the switch with Vegas. Vegas wasn't given much of a chance against Colorado. Colorado, last year's Cup winner.
Yeah.
They went in there. That was about as up and down of a series as you can find, and they pulled it out. So, and then they were able to take care of Dallas, which ended up being a pretty interesting series. They went up 3-0, and Dallas won the next 2, had home ice game 6, and just they didn't show up. So this is a series that has 2 goaltenders, both with .935 save percentages. And that's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to. Who's going to have the better goalie? Obviously, you got your skills players like Matthew Tkachuk, who's been as clutch as anybody in these playoffs. Last round, he 3 out of the 4 games, he had the game winner. First 2 in overtime, the first game in 4 overtimes. So, but I've got some players here that you want to watch in this round. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk for the Florida Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe, he's got 15 points in these playoffs. Sam Reinhart, 7 goals. Brandon Montour, who has played really well. He's a defenseman. He's been all over the puck. He's got 6 goals in these playoffs. And like I said, Sergei Bobrovsky, he's 11-2 in this playoff. That's impressive. And a 2.2 goals against average, which, I mean, that's outstanding. When you're talking playoff hockey, the old adage is if you have a goalie to stand on his head, and he's definitely doing it. But on the flip side with Vegas, you got a guy in Jack Eichel who played his entire career in Buffalo, and he was a superstar, but Buffalo never could put it together. And being that he played there, I don't think the rest of the NHL world got to see how good of a player he is. He's got 18 points in this playoff game. And Jonathan Marchessault, 9 goals. And to me, the story of the Vegas Golden Knights is their goalie, Aiden Hill. He comes in I believe it was game 5 against Colorado. He was the second guy. Injury, he comes in, and he shuts the door with Colorado, and he's been lights out ever since. So you have a backup goalie that's leading the way. So it's 2 great stories. It's the Stanley Cup final, and this thing's going 7, no matter where you put it. That's what I think.
Yeah, and like so people don't know my real fandom situation, so the Predators had Pekka Rinne forever as a goalie. Then they had the backup, and that was the succession plan. And the Golden Knights came in like, oh no, we can pick one of those 2 goalies. Like, it's not like built through the draft. They pick, NHL lets them pick through teams, and so you have to protect 7 different people, and the salary cap's different than most sports. So it is very interesting. Raj, gonna come to you. Both as a kid of the Southern California area, and I know you have friends that live in Vegas, and Vegas, the Golden Knights being the first team in Vegas. You and I have been through the airports there. We've been through the casinos. They're a big deal, and that is like they have leached on to them. It's a huge deal there.
There's a reason why the Oakland A's are going to do very well there. And in my opinion, like the Chargers, when you move to a city, or like a team has 2 chances in a major city, either they originate there and be born there, or they move there and succeed. Or they must be the first of their kind. With the Raiders, the first football team ever to move to Vegas. With the A's, same thing. The A's have been a great team off and on for many years, and now they're going to have money in a city starved for everything. Hockey basically was the barometer, right? As we discussed. Contractually speaking, when you start a new team, you want to do it in hockey. They made the finals in their first year, which is, how is that possible in any other sport? And it's really not like a knock on hockey per se. It's about sort of the change in hockey. And one thing Vegas does better than anyone is their forecheck. And really it comes down to, like we saw Jack Eichel, who was number 2 overall in 2015, drafted by Buffalo right after Connor McDavid. Well, on your forecheck, for a lot of people in hockey, it's essentially a defensive move where you apply a lot of pressure with your forwards that are sort of defensive forwards. Object being pressuring another team in their zone, getting the puck back, and nobody does it better than Vegas. Probably, arguably like Jokic in history, especially William Karlsson. And Karlsson, I mean, Draisaitl, McDavid, both of the Oilers. I can't believe how they hammered them. Havlicek, all 3 guys on Dallas. It's tailor-made for what Florida tries to do. And that being said, the Panthers have some magic. You know, they beat the team with the best regular season record in history. They beat all 3 teams they've beaten, I think, are the 1, 2, and 3 seeds or something. Tom can correct me there. But they're going to need more magic to beat a team like this that is just so fast and that matches up so well. Being said, goaltending, not exactly Pekka Rinne or Matthew Waugh or anybody else. Grant Fuhr back in the day. So we'll see, but I think it'll be Vegas in a quick series personally. I don't think it goes 7.
Brandon, so I want to hop over to you. And what I want to talk about right now. So we have the NBA finals and NHL finals are always the same time of year. We have arguably the worst markets for this.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA will kind of sell itself. Is this the NHL's worst nightmare of this matchup?
I mean, locally speaking, yeah. I mean, the Preds have been around for a while here. Didn't really start catching ground, until that run we had 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, 2017 maybe. So,
But I mean, overall, like, I mean, you have the Vegas market. They care.
Yeah, for sure.
South Florida market. Do they even care? Would the Heat be in the finals? Like,
I mean, I think the South Florida market's like Nashville market. Yeah, they care now because their team's in it. So you're gonna get a lot more fans that are committed and are gonna spend the money to come and watch these games, just like we did. You know, the playoff game or finals game, whatever we had in downtown Nashville. I mean, it was damn near like the NFL draft. I mean, Broadway was shut down. I mean, it was phenomenal. So yeah, I think it ebbs and flows in those kind of markets that are hit or miss. I mean, there's your diehard, Detroit guys, Chicago, your diehard hockey fans that will live and die with it. But then there's you go down south, it's not so predominant here. So
yeah, I just wonder. I wonder, like, well, I mean, if you're in South Florida, if you're in Vegas, it's not hockey season. I know you're a fan. I'm just curious how many common fans are going to pick up on, and I think I think you want a team from the North in this equation if you're in NHL, just because
for ratings, for sure.
Yeah.
But as a local fan, I mean, when your team's in it,
game
like,
goes,
yeah, especially in Vegas, right? So you're in Vegas, and there's not a whole lot going on in sports right now. NBA, nothing's coming there, and then all of a sudden you get a hockey team in it. Well, hell yeah, you're in. You're going to the games. I mean, yeah, why not? So it's kind of that fair weather bandwagon. If your team's hot, you're going to jump on and you're going to watch the game. You're going to pay the money to go to see the game. If your team's not, I mean, you have no clue what's going on in that league. So unfortunately, it's that way.
All right, enough hockey, enough basketball talk. Brandon Chain, DeAndre Hopkins has been released. Your Titans, my Titans, don't have receivers. What are you thinking? The Titans' aggression scale should be, and then where do you think he lands?
It's a tough one. I mean, obviously he's a great receiver when healthy. I've been back and forth on this, and I just can't put my finger on it. So Titans typically do this. They find the player on their way down with a big name, and we'll pay him $15 million a year or whatever, and it just all it does is hurt our salary cap.
I.e. Randy Moss, never throw to him.
I mean, you can name them: Jadeveon Clowney, Randy Moss. I mean, there's a list of them, but I don't think we should take him because what has he got? 1 or 2 years left. We're in a transition phase right now. I mean, Tannehill, he's going to suffice for a year. We'll see what we can do as far as the rebuilding and see what holes that we have to fill.
He's only 30 years old.
No, I get that, but he's not been well. He got suspended for a while, and then, I mean, with one of the top quarterbacks in the league, he didn't do well. So I don't know. I mean, maybe a 1 year flyer. I'm not opposed to that.
I don't want to cut you short. Raj is itching to tell you his stats. Raj, pop on here with Brandon and I. Tell us the stats that you want to tell us.
So the stat I was looking at was, we all know he's a savvy route runner and just quick, very detailed, amazing ball skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was way older than 30, and then I researched it further. Last year, he played in 9 games. He only played in 5 with a decent quarterback in Kyler Murray. In those 5 games, he had 64 receptions for 717 yards. Now, I don't recall the actual opponents, but that's an average of roughly 13 receptions for 140 yards. Granted, we're taking into account Arizona's offense. Only one option. They're probably down by 40. Who knows? The point being is with a good quarterback, and Rob, I know you're going to ask like where he best belongs. And to me, he was going to count $30 million against Arizona's cap. That's a team with so many holes that just couldn't happen. But he wants a ring. And let's say he goes to Buffalo with Josh Allen or the Jets with Aaron Rodgers or Kansas City with Mahomes.
Hold on. You say he wants a ring. Why do you say that?
Because he is 30 and he's slowing down, and
but
he knows his production is based upon. I don't think he needs any more money. He knows his production is based upon a great quarterback.
Raj, as someone who went to Primo tonight, what's better than your money now? It's always more money. Everyone always wants more money.
Shit. I was going to say shit, man, but I can't say that. It's legacy at this point, bro. You want to be known for somebody that was like an average, a guy that just took paychecks and didn't do shit? Or you want to get a ring and go to a team and be the guy that helped Aaron Rodgers?
Plenty of people that work for the government are very happy.
Go to the Jets and win a ring, and you were part of that. I'd rather do the latter.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean, obviously, none of us know DeAndre Hopkins. He got cut for a reason.
They didn't attempt to trade him.
They couldn't. He had $30 million against the salary cap. They tried.
That's what I'm saying. Like what?
Nobody. Yeah. So he's going to take less money. And again,
I think less, and they're still going to have to pay like half of that.
Look at our producer / ace commenter, Tom Sloan. I mean, the ball skills are still there, and he's older now. Nobody's left in the stands, but he's still a savvy, amazing route runner, and he gets chemistry with a smart, savvy quarterback, and he is.
I totally agree, Raj, but my issue is
Tom, hop on in here.
We are in a like rebuilding situation.
Oh no. The Titans is a joke.
For the Titans, for him to come,
no fucking way he goes to the Titans. Nobody wants to go to the Titans.
It's a terrible move. Yeah, it's
Rob
a terrible.
Was just giving you a question as a bad softball, like a opposite of a meatball, like.
Well, no. I mean, it was not about the. I just can't imagine. It's not about the money. I just can't imagine that. He's not. I've never heard him talk about. I want to win no matter what.
And Tom will correct us all. I think he said he wants to go to a winner.
Yes,
well,
I mean
they all do.
He has a list.
Yeah, I want to
spend a lot of money.
Model, but that doesn't mean
the Titans are not on that list. I can confidently state that.
This show, by the way, is powered by Jack, which
I know.
Brandon is pouring
cheers.
Another glass. Yes, cheers.
Yeah,
I think with Hopkins, there was a list of 4 teams, and my Lions were on it, but I'm not exactly sure if he's a fit in this system. Meaning, I don't know if he's a fit for the locker room. Will he fit the system? Absolutely. He'd come in and fill in nicely for the first 6 weeks anyhow, while Jameson Williams is suspended for gambling. But I think
we should do a whole show on the Lions and their gambling idiocracy.
Rob is tripping me out with his crappy internet because
he's freezing.
He's like max headroom right now for the old heads. But no, I mean he is a locker room presence, and I think like if he went to the Jets, it's one thing to be with Aaron Rodgers. It's another to groom the younger receivers. And with Detroit, you've got a bevy of just a great young core.
Yeah.
The question is, do they need them or need him rather? And I don't think so. I think Detroit's issues are on the other side of the football.
I don't think he fits at all in either of those teams. I mean,
no, they don't have egos with the Lions. The egos get checked at the door. And I think that's a testament to the culture that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes has put in place. But
wait, is your 8-8 team like now you're already giving them an identity? They're
9-8 last year. No,
about them, like,
but here's the thing:
they don't have this. Usually, we save that type of talk for championship teams.
No, But if you understand the culture that the Lions were, the since 1957, their last championship, specifically the last regime that was here, they were terrible. It was a toxic environment, and ownership was horrible. So they've made that change. Obviously, the owner's the same, Sheila Hemp, but she's somebody that gives a damn, and she's in the day to day with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. So they have changed the culture. You go from irrelevancy to 8-2 in the last 10 games. That just doesn't happen by chance. So he doesn't.
I'm all for it.
He doesn't fit that mold, in my opinion. Where he fits perfectly is Cleveland.
All right.
Deshaun Watson, former quarterback, he had his best success with him. Cleveland's in need of a playmaker. They're
5 years ago with a great offensive line and a running back.
They're in need of somebody that can make plays and give confidence to Deshaun Watson, who, let's face it, he looked terrible last year. So my opinion, Cleveland is the spot that he should go.
Put him on Kansas City.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's not game over. Anyways, we have to move on. Tom, talk about the what to look for from reckless speculation from the summer. Obviously, we will talk about baseball. We will talk about preseason football, but it is idiotic to not acknowledge that there is a lull in sports over the summer. And so we'll do our best to keep you entertained with baseball and stuff. But we also want to do different things, and we want to introduce different aspects that we can. So, Tom, talk about that for us, please.
Absolutely. And, of course, NFL is king, so there's always stories about that. But something that's near and dear to my heart is men's mental health. I'm 45, almost 46 years old. I've had some situations in my life. I've had some ups and some downs and been put in a corner. Sometimes I felt like I could never get out of that corner. And if it wasn't for my ability to swallow pride and not mask my emotions and be able to speak about my problems and my issues, I don't think I would be here today. And it's something that I feel a lot of men struggle with. And this show has given me a platform of ideas to be able to reach out and expand on what we've already accomplished as a crew. Men have issues about speaking out, whether it be they feel like it's not manly.
It's insecurity is what it is, in my opinion, the bottom line. But yes, absolutely agree.
Or they're weak and, are afraid to say it. So what I brought to the table for these guys was, why don't we, in this downtime of the season, let's try and reach a whole different audience. We can talk sports with the best of them, and I think we are as good as the rest of them, if not better, in my opinion. So let's show the world, essentially, that we can transition from sports to everyday life, whether it be workplace situations, whether it be problems at home, problems with addictions. Here's a list of some of the ideas that we've got coming up. Obviously, there's a stigma in mental health that men don't have that issue. That's bullshit. And there is an opportunity to help someone, even if it's one person out there that we can help, then we've done our jobs. Why are we afraid to express our emotions? What does success look like? When do we ask for help? When do we look for certain traits? This was what I was guilty of. Narcissistic traits. I fell victim to that. And until I learned how to deal with that, I couldn't move on in my life. I was able to do that. So there's a lot of issues that men deal with every day.
And Tom, wouldn't you agree that my personal opinion is I have a friend that went through a process, and it's not, rehab is considered like a bad word per se by many men, and that's their insecurity. But He said, you give anyone 30 days to focus on self-improvement and you see how they come out.
Sure.
And what type of person they'll be. And I think we have a tendency, I know I do, to compare myself. Like, I'm comparative. Well, I'm not doing lines of coke off like a pregnant stripper's butt. Sorry for the very vivid analogy. At least my phone's not ringing with the generic Apple ringtone. But really, like, it's extremely comparative. And what is your bottom, per se? You know, like, what do you, no pun intended to the stripper's butt reference, but it's individualistic. Yeah, I thought that was a good joke, too.
That was funny. I caught it.
And we can talk about.
You know what my buddy told me, though, real quick? He said, I'm a better father, I'm a better husband, and I'm better at my job.
Yep.
And he was a guy that, not like you guys, but country club guy that made a lot of money in sales, got wasted all the time, did a lot of drugs and went home and was still a good father. But, you know, his wife was just like, is this the rest of our life? And he made a very courageous decision. And I wonder how many, and I'm even guilty of, all right, I wasn't that effed up, so to speak, but at some point we have to realize it's our own individual reckoning, in my opinion.
We all have flaws. We all have flaws, and it's just a matter of admitting them.
Yeah, and I'm super excited about this because whether it's, hey, how many times do you hit the snooze button in the morning, and what does that say about you, versus, oh, hey, are we handling stepkids, or what, like, hey, what are we setting out for our wills? Do we have our will set up? Power of attorneys? Like, just talk about things that we need to deal with in life. And so during the summer, like, for people that watch us, we are never going to get away from sports, but we are just going to start talking during the summer months about just life kind of stuff.
And one thing that I want to point out here, and obviously the name of this segment is going to be The Misunderstood, MIS, meaning men in society. And we want to reach as many people as we can. But if we just reach out to one person and make a difference, that's a win. But there's also expectations that women have in men. So if possible, we're going to bring on some women to get their thoughts on what they expect in a man, what they look for.
Each of us are married, and so we can probably, you know, hey, what do you, and one of the key things in place, what do you think someone else is thinking? What do you think Sarah's thinking about Brandon, or, you know, kind of those kind of things. But
what about like the guy you married versus the guy you are now? I mean, we tend to lose sense of self, right? Like it's difficult, and then you realize who you really are. And I feel like women have the ability to really love who a person is, and guys don't have that. Like, are you fat? Are you skinny? Are you smart? Are you dumb? You know, like a lot of times, and I realize I'm ridiculously generalizing, just as a point. Like, just think about, you know, I get to cuss, so I can say this, your shit. Mm-hmm. And maybe your shit isn't what you think it is. And that's kind of what we're getting at, because we all talked about it. And I mean, our shit's all perfect. We know that. But we're just talking about the rest of you fuckheads. Now I get to cuss. I'm all about it. But no, for real. It's something that, you know, we're very chauvinistic, especially in the South and the Midwest, and considered a sign of weakness, which really is a sign of weakness if you can't admit your own faults.
And men get cheated on. The stereotype is men
way
are the cheaters,
women, dude.
And men are victim. And I'm, you know, attested to that. And it made me who I am. It made me stronger. And you can recover from that. It takes a long time, but you have to admit that you need help, and you can't do it alone. So we want to help somebody. I don't care who it is, but I think we all four of us come from unique walks of life. All four of us are professional men that have experienced life, and will be able to help somebody with our words and our experiences. So that's what we look forward to doing.
Statistically, way more than men cheat. We just like to live in denial.
Sure. Sure.
Well, yeah,
I love you, man. I love you.
No one wants to sleep with us. Like,
No, but
Speak for yourself.
yeah. All right. Bet your nuts, guys. Speaking of sleeping with people, nuts are involved. Bet your nuts. Brandon, what you?
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
This is the time we're making you guys money. Free money, as free as it can be. Brandon, what do you got for us?
I'm going to take it over to the Memorial Tournament, Jack's Place.
Golf action.
A little golf action. John Rahm is, I think, tied fourth or third or something right now. He's at plus 410 to win right now. That's a pretty solid, safe bet. So if you're looking at a little golf this weekend,
410 is a good number.
Plus 410 is plus money. Dude's been solid all year. Really good. But
just for clarification, have you hit a single bet all year?
Oh, yeah. I've hit multiple. Go back and look at the record.
Okay.
So
I don't have access to that kind of material.
I have. So I do
pay that man his money.
Yeah, exactly. Just pay him his money. Another one, if you're looking deep into it and you want to really gamble on the Memorial Tournament, Victor Hovland's sitting there at plus 1,400. That's a pretty good bet considering he finished pretty well in the PGA a week or two ago. So I like those two. So my bet is John Rahm at plus 410.
And then work that into me. Give your meat a good old.
All right, Tommy Toes, what do you got?
I'm going into the NHL Finals, Game 1. I just love what the Florida Panthers have been able to accomplish. I think they're hot. I think they keep it rolling. And they've been the underdog in every Game 1. And this definitely is no different. Panthers money line plus 110, and I'm going to throw in the over-under is 5.5 goals. Give me the under at plus 100. So Panthers money line under 5.5.
You're parlaying those?
Yes.
All right, Raj.
I like it.
my Phoebe girl and I, we're just not going to get cute despite our likeness. She's the best dog ever. It's just straight up. Both Florida teams are going down. They're both great stories, but it's just bad matchups. With Jokic and Murray, they've already shown what they can do. Jokic's a facilitator. I think he had actually 10 assists in the first half. Again, in the NHL, William Karlsson shut down Draisaitl, Pavlicek, Connor McDavid. Kachuk is not going to be a problem. So even though I love great stories, I think, and I'm not going straight up point spread or whatnot, I will take both series to be won by the opposing teams when it comes to the state of Florida.
Okay, so two.
Pretty good bet.
Yeah, Florida.
Pretty good bet.
No.
Jokic is one rebound away from a triple-double right now, FYI.
Yeah, so
again,
I'm going
last 15 in the playoffs, 5 of the last 6. He's just setting records, and teams have to zone him. Again, Miami is the team that played the most zone in the league.
He's not even playing right now. He needs one rebound, and it's a triple-double.
Yeah, so I'm going.
I'm going to be his easiest.
Plus 400, Denver and 6. That's my bet this week. Denver, I think.
Dude, could be 5.
I was going to
Denver
say.
and 6 plus 400. I think Miami gets 2, I hope, but.
Miami
might get
45% against the Bucks from 3 and 44% against Boston compared to 30% against Boston. But nobody had a zone breaker like Jokic. Those percentages are not.
You can't play zone against him. All right, Raj, final thoughts.
I just said them, bro. Like, Florida sucks. And, you mean about sports? No,
this is your 25 seconds to talk.
No, I just, again, Florida sucks. Bad matchups, sports, and otherwise. Like, they're going to lose. And I think that's a metaphor for all sorts of things. Hell yeah.
All right. Brandon, what do you got for your final thoughts?
Looking forward to kind of changing it up this summer with some of the topics. That'll be fun. Try to engage a new crowd and, take a walk down real life, and all our audience will kind of get a little bit of insight on to, us as people and what we talk about every day. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
All right, Tom?
I want to talk about what today is, June 1st. June 1st is the start of Pride Month. And I just want to acknowledge that this is a community that belongs and should be accepted. I was introduced to this community really last year on a personal level. Our neighbors are just great friends of ours. Kind of introduced us to it. Our little town has actually a Pride Festival, which is ironic considering that where we are in this part of the state, which is very, very conservative. So this town has welcomed them in. So I just really quick, and if you noticed, I put a little flag up underneath our logo because I just think it matters. And I think humanity matters. And whether, who you love, it doesn't matter, just as long as you love and you're pure in your heart. And I just wanted to say a few words about them out there because it means something to me. And I fly a flag in front of my house out of respect for them. So happy Pride Month, and just don't hate. Just love one another.
God created all equal.
Amen.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, everyone has their right to what they believe in, whether we agree or not. Yep. They do. I want to echo Brandon's thoughts. Look, every year we've been doing this. I guess we've been doing it for a year and a half, 2 years. I dread this part of the calendar, but with our new focus, I'm looking forward to it. Kind of getting us re-energized, and I think people that listen to us, we will be happy as well, because themes matter and themes seem to copy, and everyone does the same kind of themes. So looking forward to talking to you guys about what's going on in your life, marriage, work, everything. And I think we'll get a good positive feedback about that. With that being said, please like and subscribe. I know I always wait to the end to say this. I hope people watch till the end. Hope you're ending your walk right now. And thank you guys for watching. And then without further ado, if anyone's got any other final words.
Peace. Join us next week.
Yes, thank you very much. We'll be on next week.
Like and subscribe, share,
yes,
comment. We love it all.
Look for reels throughout the week. We're posting on both Facebook, TikTok. They're doing well, so we're going to keep going with it.
Yes.
See you guys next week.
I suck it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation. Cheers.